We all know about how a corporation works in America, right? We all know about the hierarchy that goes with a corporation. We've got a president, an SVP, a VP. It goes all the way down to a regular employee, maybe a mailroom worker. Now, that worker was probably hired by the VP or the SVP, and that worker had a set of commands, set of expectations for his job. Don't be late. Clock in, clock out at a certain time. Do your job in a timely manner. Listen to people when they tell you what to do, or if they have questions, answer them. Be productive at your job. Those are basic expectations when you get hired to some company, not even in just this country, in the world. Those are basic expectations. Now, when you can't fulfill them, there obviously becomes a problem. Have you experienced this before? Is there an employee that you work with or that you work above that you know isn't productive and doesn't get the job done? You may ask yourself, why aren't they fired? If you don't do your job, you're fired, right? We live in a meritocracy where merit, where hard work gets you rewarded, and where laziness gets you nowhere. That's the way it's supposed to work. Hold that thought for a second. Who hired the mailroom employee? That's right, the VP, or the SVP. So if that mailroom employee is fired, who does that reflect poorly on? That's right, the SVP or the VP. They were the ones who had selected the employee. It's their judgment on the line. It could be their job on the line, too. Maybe this was an important position. They needed to pick somebody right, and they got it wrong. Their leash has become quite short. Now, how can we apply this exact scenario to a sports perspective? How does this real-world problem apply to the realm of sports? Well, Mitchell Trubisky was just named the starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears, and I saw so many people up in arms about it. They couldn't believe it. They were saying, well, this is supposed to be a fair competition. How could he have done better than Nick Foles? Easy. Here's an answer. Whether he did or did not, he was going to be the starter week 1. And that's because there are other people's jobs who are definitely on the line if Trubisky can't perform. It's not only about Trubisky and his performance and how he did in camp. There are so many other confounding factors that influenced the decision. Tell me I'm wrong. Let's see. Who drafted Mitch Trubisky? Oh, that's right, Ryan Pace. What happens if Pace comes out and says, Foles is our starter, I screwed up? First of all, that would never happen. But if it did, people would be more up in arms. They'd probably call for Pace to be fired. They'd want a new GM. They'd want somebody to correctly draft a quarterback. And the Bears would be buried again in a rebuild. What about Matt Nagy? If Trubisky ends up starting, how does that reflect on him and his mantra, his reputation as being a good player's coach? We all know about the struggles both of them have had together. We all know about Nagy's offense and how it really hasn't conformed to Trubisky's needs and wants. In a player-driven league, in a quarterback-driven league, in a superstar-driven league that is the NFL, you as a coach will not survive if you cannot conform to your players and make it work for them. So if Nagy comes out and says this didn't really work, he didn't learn my system the right way, how does that reflect on him? Not only for this job, but for the next job. Chances are he'll never be employed by an NFL franchise again as a head coach. Do you see what I'm getting at here? The mailroom employee, in our original example, if he's fired, the SVP who hired him could also be on the hook. He has to face the music too. He's responsible for putting that employee in that position. And here with the Bears, if Trubisky didn't start, if the Bears cut him, or if they said he's not good enough anymore, who do you think is going to have to face the music? Trubisky, yes, to an extent, but mostly it'll be Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy. People will chide Pace again for the decision to draft Trubisky and not Mahomes or Watson. People will go after Nagy for saying that he did nothing to help Trubisky. He didn't conform to Trubisky's needs and strengths. He made him learn a fruitless offense and a scheme. These things will be said. Some of them have already been said, despite the fact that Trubisky starts every day. There are so many confounding factors, it's not black or white. It never was, it never is, and it never will be. If we're talking about pure talent, if we're talking about past credentials, Nick Foles probably starts week 1. Writers all the time were saying that Foles had the slight edge based on performance only. No confounding factors, just straight up performance. Foles was the guy week 1. He was supposed to start. He outperformed Trubisky in training camp. It was obvious. We knew it was going to happen. Even though Foles isn't the long-term answer, even though he's not a great quarterback, he's a Super Bowl MVP. He's done it before. Been there, done that. He was definitely capable of starting for the Bears week 1. Never mind the fact that he does better in relief. I'm saying on a purely talent level, on a purely performance level, Foles is your week 1 starter, with, of course, no strings attached. But once we start attaching those strings, once we rope in Nagy and Pace and Trubisky and put them all together, it became quite obvious to me that Trubisky would be the week 1 starter. We said it on this show last week. We said don't be shocked when Trubisky is named the starter week 1. You had to have expected that to happen. If you didn't, and you actually thought this would be a fair, no-nonsense competition, I'm sorry, you're wrong. And this proves it. We knew it from the beginning. Trubisky is the franchise quarterback. The Bears took him 2nd overall. They traded up to get him. And they did not draft a Heisman Trophy winner to get Trubisky. You really think they're going to give up on him that quickly? You really think they're going to throw in the towel and say, yep, we're wrong, sorry. Now back to the drawing board. Think about what's on the line here. This is it. If Trubisky doesn't work this year, then everyone faces the music regardless. Pace is in big trouble. Nagy's in big trouble. Trubisky's deemed a bust. The Bears need a new quarterback. Talk about chaos. And the Bears will do whatever they can to prolong that process another year. They'll do whatever they can to say Trubisky will improve. Trust us. This is his year. Maybe he will do well. We don't know. But the point is, they had every incentive in the world to name Trubisky the Week 1 starter. And conversely, they had every disincentive in the world to name Foles the Week 1 starter. Why come out and throw your top pick under the bus without giving him one more chance? Why come out and say Trubisky's not the answer when he has one more year on that contract? He has one more year to prove himself. Why take away that year? Not just for the franchise's sake, for your own job security's sake. Why would Ryan Pace blow up his team when Trubisky has one more chance? The same for Nagy. The same for Trubisky. Why would any of them not make this decision? All of their jobs, all of their careers, all of their livelihoods, and their respect within NFL communities are on the line here. What makes you think Foles is starting Week 1? It's ridiculous. So just like we said at the very beginning, when the SVP or the VP hires the mailroom guy, there's a lot on the line for both parties. It's not just Trubisky who will suffer or take the brunt of the blame. The head coach and the GM of this organization are in just as much hot water as Trubisky. And if he does not perform, if he does not step up this year, guess who else has to answer very tough questions? Not just from fans and media, but from ownership. This is not surprising. This is not shocking. This is what was supposed to happen, whether you like it or not. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I wish Trubisky the best of luck. You have to. Because if he doesn't work, I don't know what direction this franchise is going in. The free agent market this year for quarterbacks was weak. How do you think it's going to look next year? The same. As we've seen time and time again, with guys like Watson and Mahomes and other rookies, you need to home grow a quarterback to be successful in this league. Very few go out and sign brand new stopgap quarterbacks every year and win. That never happens. So for everybody's sake, for job security, for Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace and Trubisky, for the fans' sake, in the organization's direction, Trubisky needs to succeed. This is his last chance. I wish him the best, and I am not surprised by this decision. He has one more opportunity, and he really needs to come through for this city, for this team, and for the people who trusted in him. More to come here on Sports Talk Chicago. My interview with Cole Kubelik comes up next, so stay tuned.